Cayenne pepper is a remarkable herb. Cayenne pepper is not chili. Chili comes from the chili family, and cayenne pepper comes from the capsicum family. Chili is an irritant to the lining of the gastrointestinal tract. Black pepper is an irritant to the lining of the gastrointestinal tract, but cayenne pepper will heal a stomach ulcer. Cayenne pepper moves blood. It's one of the best circulatory stimulants there is. It's not a nervous system stimulant like your caffeines or your tobacco. It's a blood stimulant.
The health advice you've heard all your life might not be as accurate as you think. In her lectures, Dr. Barbara O'Neill breaks down some of these common myths and introduces a fresh approach to wellness that may challenge everything you've believed. This video isn't just another take on health. It's about shifting how we understand it entirely. One key point Dr. O'Neill highlights is castor oil's unique ability to deeply penetrate tissues, which sets it apart from other oils. She explains that this is due to its molecular structure, allowing it to go beyond the skin and reach deeper layers. Our channel is also giving away 100 free copies of Barbara's best-selling book. To enter, simply hit that subscribe button, like this video, and comment why you want to win.
So where would you put that? You would put that on a bone spur, you would put that on sometimes even a sore wrist, joints, you can put it on for that. One lady had very sore knees and found that that made a big difference. You could put it on a congested chest. If it's winter and a person's got a congested chest, obviously you'd make a little bit bigger for that. You may then put a hot water bottle on, and that would help to warm up your poultice. Mostly the body will warm it up, but if the person's got a cold and they'd like it to be warmed quickly, you can do that. It can be used on the abdomen for constipation. It'll penetrate deep and break up congestion in there. I met a lady who was the wife of a doctor. She said, 20 years ago I had irritable bowel syndrome, and when my husband told me what he was offering medically, I said, no thanks. And she'd heard about castor oil, so she applied castor oil compresses. And she said she healed herself.
Castor oil is especially effective for addressing deeper issues like lumps, adhesions, and bone spurs. Its ability to penetrate deeply into the skin is thanks to its high content of ricinoleic acid. This acid has anti-inflammatory and pain-relieving properties that boost the oil's healing effects. When you apply castor oil to your skin, it can work its way through the layers and reach the underlying tissues. This can help break down or dissolve fibrous tissues or scar tissue, like lumps and adhesions, which may be causing pain or limiting movement.
So castor oil can be used just about anywhere. It can help to break up gallstones in the gallbladder. It can help to revive the liver. So your liver, your gallbladder is under your right rib, so you would do it to that area. It applied to the kidneys, it can help break up kidney stones. And so there's a whole lot of areas that you can use castor oil. I don't advise you take it by mouth. It can be a little irritating there.
O'Neill also points out that castor oil's ability to deeply penetrate the skin can be really helpful for those dealing with bone spurs. These spurs are small bony growths that can cause discomfort, but the anti-inflammatory properties in castor oil may help reduce the inflammation around them and ease the pain. Its deep penetration allows it to reach the affected areas more effectively than many other topical treatments. Dr. O'Neill also recommends using castor oil as a compress to boost its effects. By applying heat to a cloth soaked in castor oil, you can enhance its ability to penetrate and target deeper tissues. This can increase its effectiveness on areas that need it most. But castor oil isn't the only remedy. Dr. Barbara O'Neill also highlights the medicinal power of onions, something most of us have in our kitchens. She shares a personal story about how cooked onions brought her child significant relief from a severe earache in just 2 hours.
You can use onion cooked or you can use it raw. So we'll begin by looking at the cooked onion, and you steam it. Just like that, with all the skin on top, because the bottom will hold everything in place. And ideally you steam it or you dry bake it. If you boil it, some of the healing properties are going to go into the water. And when it's hot and soft, you cut it in half, so what you're looking at is the rings. And what you can do, which I have since learnt, that you can squeeze that and you can put some of that hot cooked onion juice into a spoon. It'll be boiling, but when it gets onto the cold spoon, it'll come to just the right temperature, and then that can be put into an ear that is sore or aching. And then with the hot cooked onion, you wrap it up a few times. You might use a cloth. These are sheets that started to get a bit thin. I think they make the nicest poultice material. You know, the sheets that the 15-year-old boy puts his foot to, perfect. Puts it through, they're the perfect ones. And then you get it just the right temperature and you can put that on the ear, and then you might cover it with a plastic square. It needs to have a plastic square on it to keep it warm, because when it gets cold, you have to remove it. Some people will put a beanie on. I know when I first did this on my son, the first poultice I ever did, I think James just turned 45, something like that, so this is when he was 2. I had him breastfeeding, and I had the onion against my arm and against his ear so I could gauge the heat of it. And if it's too hot, he'll quickly tell you, isn't that right? And he fell asleep. And when I laid him down on the onion on a towel folded up about 4 times, because I knew that would, his little hot body on that, the onion, that would keep it warm. And he slept for 2 hours. And when he woke up, he was very happy. And he's never had another earache since. Wow. So compare that to my experience of 4 courses of antibiotics over 6 weeks with my first daughter. But I'm very thankful for that experience, because that experience, it got me to go in another direction.
This story highlights just how effective onions can be as a natural remedy, especially when compared to how long antibiotics might take to work. Onions are packed with quercetin, a flavonoid known for its powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. Quercetin is key in helping to reduce inflammation and boost the immune system. In the case of ear infections, where inflammation is a major issue, quercetin's anti-inflammatory properties are especially helpful. On top of that, onions contain sulfur compounds, like allicin, which have antimicrobial qualities. These compounds can help fight off the bacteria and viruses that cause infections, making onions a strong natural alternative. To take advantage of these benefits, Dr. O'Neill suggests cooking the onion to activate its healing properties. The process involves heating the onion until it softens and releases its essential oils. Once ready, the cooked onion is placed inside a cloth or bandage and applied to the affected area, like behind the ear. The warmth from the onion not only delivers these beneficial compounds right to the infection site, but also provides soothing heat, improving blood flow, and helping reduce pain and speed up healing. Unlike the usual treatment approach that often relies on antibiotics, O'Neill highlights a key issue. While antibiotics can help fight bacterial infections, they don't really tackle the inflammation or discomfort that comes with earaches. This can leave you dealing with pain for a while, even though the antibiotics are clearing the bacteria. On the other hand, onions offer a more holistic solution by not only fighting the infection, but also helping with the symptoms more quickly. But onions aren't the only kitchen staple with surprising healing powers. There's another common vegetable you probably didn't realize could help: potatoes.
My next demo is going to be of the humble potato. Now the potato is a drawer, but the potato is very gentle. There are areas in the body you would not put onion, and you would not put ginger, and you would not put garlic, but the gentle potato. So where are those areas? In the tender parts of the body. So your eyes. It's very calming and cooling for inflamed eyes, conjunctivitis, sprained ankle. In fact, that's what we put on Zaza when she sprained her ankle yesterday, was the grated potato. The grated potato is very cooling, so if you've got an inflamed red area, the potato because it's high in phosphorus and potassium, the skin absorbs that, and because it's very alkaline, it neutralizes the acid condition, cools it, and it can draw out and reduce the inflammation.
Dr. Barbara O'Neill highlights the many healing benefits of potatoes, especially when they're applied as poultices.
Now, the way I make my poultices is mess-free. That's what I like, mess-free. So I wrap up Glad Wrap a few times, and what I'm aiming for with my poultice is that I've got a little bit more plastic around the edge of my poultice. So I put that down, and then I put the cloth that I'm going to make the poultice on down, and then I grate it. But this has a... So you can grate it straight onto the cloth. Now, I'm not sure what you call these in America. We call them Chuck's cloths. I guess that's the brand name. But I guess you call them a cleaning cloth, yeah? And they're disposable, and they've got little holes in them. If someone had breast cancer, I wouldn't use this, but if someone had a swollen ankle or a sprained ankle, it would be fine to use for that. Be very careful you don't use too much potato, because if you use too much potato, the poultice can get very wet, and if the poultice leaks, is no fun.
Grated potatoes have been used in different therapeutic situations because of their anti-inflammatory, antiseptic, and calming properties. O'Neill explains that the starches in potatoes can help pull out toxins and reduce swelling, making them useful for treating various issues. She even shares a remarkable story where grated potato poultices were applied to treat a serious foot infection.
But I must tell you the story of what happened to my son. My younger son, William, when he was about 10, he was running round the side of a swimming pool, and the people had landscaped it to make it look like an oasis. So there were old sleepers, you know, from old train tracks and ferns, and he bumped his foot as he was running up on a sleeper that was breaking down. And he came running to me crying, and I had a look, and just under his toe on the ball of foot there was a hole. And I had tweezers, and I put it in as much as I dared, but I thought something must have gone in and come out. So that night I put a grated potato poultice on his foot, and in the morning it looked okay, but he was limping. So every night I did a grated potato poultice on his foot, and he was still limping. And I didn't quite understand why he still was, and that's when I started to think maybe something is in there. Now, to speed up the process, I did hot and colds. So this is a hydrotherapy, and tomorrow night Vanessa is going to give you a hydrotherapy demo, so you'll be exploring this more tomorrow night. What I did was I did the hot for 3 minutes, and she will be explaining in more detail why this works, and I did cold for 30 seconds. And I did this 3 times, so that's only, what, 10 minutes? Doesn't take long. And it brings a lot of relief because it causes a massive amount of blood to come to the area, and that pushes the old blood out. So I did that morning, and I did that night, and I put a grated potato poultice on it overnight. It looked quite clean, and all day he'd be running around playing, limping. And after 2.5 weeks, he's still limping. And I'm not sure what to do. I'm just doing what I know, and we're managing it. And a friend visited, and I said to him, I don't know what's the matter with William's foot. Now, he did what I hadn't dared do. He pushed the bottom of William's foot. William screamed. My friend said, there's a hunk of wood in that foot. William looked at me worried, because William, my youngest, was a little delicate. Now, my second son, down next to William, the next one up, I could do anything to Peter. But William was a little more delicate. I had to be careful what I did. So you've got to change things depending on who you're working with. I said, it's all right, William, we'll do grated potato surgery. So what I did was I did a grated potato overnight. I did the hot and colds in the morning. Then I put another grated potato on. And then in the middle of the day, I put another grated potato on. So I'm doing non-stop grated potato. I thought, we're going to speed this up. After 2.5 days of that, William's foot looked like a wrinkled old prune, but we had to get this out. After 2.5 days, when I took the poultice off in the morning, there was a black circle in the hole. I looked at it and I got a needle with William's permission and I just slipped the skin back a little bit. The skin was so soft from all the poultices, and I put the needle into the black thing on the side and I started to pull it out. And I stopped, called the family. I mean, we'd been watching William limp for 2.5 weeks. I didn't want anyone to miss out on this. And then I said to William, you pull it out, and he just pulled it out. And it was 1 inch long, the thickness of 2 matchsticks. Now in the foot, it would have been, so here's the foot. Sorry, I'm not a great drawer, but you get the gist. It was about there in the foot. And it was, you know, the hole, when I saw the black in the hole, it was about that big. Now, I don't think it was like that, or would have felt it. I don't think it was like that, but I think the splinter was sort of up on an angle like that. Grated potato and hot and colds. What did I do to the hole then? Because it was a mighty hole. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because now that the offending article had been removed, the body would quickly heal. I did encourage him not to go barefoot in a lot of dirt and manure. But it quickly healed. In fact, he still has the scar there today. The round circle that's about as big as a lentil. He still has that scar, and he's just turned 30. What would have happened if I hadn't done the hot and colds or the potato? I'd say his foot would have swelled up. Yep. Sleeper, imagine how, you know, these are old sleepers with lots of grime in them. I'd say a red line would have gone up his leg.
Barbara O'Neill doesn't just recommend the potato poultice for infections. She suggests it can also be helpful for bruises, sprains, and minor burns. Its pain-relieving and healing properties come from the potato's natural compounds, like catalase, which has anti-inflammatory effects. The cooling sensation from the potato can also ease discomfort and reduce redness in the treated areas. Beyond infections and injuries, O'Neill talks about using the poultice for skin conditions like eczema and psoriasis, where it helps moisturize the skin and soothe itching and irritation. So, while potatoes are great in the kitchen, they also offer real potential as a natural remedy for various ailments. The next item isn't a vegetable, but it's something you probably have in your kitchen: cayenne pepper. Dr. Barbara O'Neill shares an interesting story about cayenne pepper's potential benefits for heart health, especially in a serious situation like a heart attack. She recalls an instance where cayenne pepper was used during a heart attack, and after giving it to the patient, there was a noticeable improvement in their condition.
Any cut, put the cayenne pepper on it. Yes, it will hurt, but it's already hurting, and remember, it'll settle down, and then bind it up, because it'll constrict the blood vessels and cause them to shut. Now, internally, if there's a bleeding ulcer and you take cayenne pepper, won't it hurt? It'll give a little bit of a tingle, but it will never hurt, meaning it will never cause an ulcer. In the book Jethro Kloss, there's a doctor that says it's impossible to cause a lesion with cayenne pepper. Another doctor said, you cannot abuse cayenne pepper. It's impossible to abuse it. It's actually a very safe herb. It will never harm. It might feel like it sometimes, but it will never harm. You can also use it internally if someone has a heart attack. Now, I had read about this, but I experienced it once, and it was when we had our health retreat in Melbourne. I got a call from one of the staff. A lady's had a heart attack in the middle of a cooking class. So I ran down. I was there in 3 minutes. The lady's lying on the ground. Her face is white. There's a guy holding a pulse. He said, the pulse is gone. Almost. I said, quick, cayenne pepper. I got a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, quickly put it in her mouth. She was half conscious. We're able to give her a little bit of water to to drink. Within 2 minutes, the guy holding the pulse said the pulse is strong. All the colour came back into her cheeks, and she sat up and said, "What happened?" Just amazing. We sold out of cayenne pepper that program. Everyone, what happened to that lady? What happened to that lady is that cayenne pepper, when it got into the blood vessels, it thinned the blood. This is the best blood thinner. No need to warfarin, I mean rat poison. No need for aspirin. And by the way, it has been shown today that aspirin causes brain bleeds. This is very, very safe with no side effects. Now, if someone is on warfarin or aspirin and they're a little concerned, I would suggest start taking 1/4 teaspoon 3 times a day. And most people, if they're on warfarin, they have to be tested, every few weeks or every month. And the doctor will say, "Your blood's getting so thin, we can reduce your medication." Because he will see it if you're taking cayenne pepper.
This approach is based on capsaicin, an active compound known for its ability to widen blood vessels. Capsaicin helps relax and expand these vessels, which may lead to better circulation and lower blood pressure.
Very safe. I was going to say many doctors, probably 1% of doctors, there are a few that are using natural medicines with amazing results. See, there's no side effect with this. You could take a bucket of that a day and you would still not bleed to death. Because, remember herbs? Psalm 104 verse 14, God made herbs for the service of man. They work with the body. Now what that did when this lady took it, it thinned the blood, it immediately opened, dilated all her blood vessels, and she got a dramatic delivery of blood all through her body, and that's what pulled her around.
Cayenne pepper is known for more than just adding spice to your meals. It also has some impressive cardiovascular benefits. Research shows that cayenne pepper can help thin the blood, improving blood flow and lowering the risk of clot formation. The active compound, capsaicin, affects the body's clotting factors, which may help reduce the chances of blood clots that could lead to heart attacks. So, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed watching it and found it informative and interesting, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this.